He is transported to a realm where humanity has been annihilated and no one remembers him. After humanity triumphed in a gruesome war, Kai Sakuravento is dispatched to a parallel universe where humans were vanquished in that battle. Confronting an entity uncertain whether it's an angel or a demon, the hero is astonished to see this being requesting assistance from him, a human. In his world, humanity fought an unending war against 4 enemy races, but in this alternate world, no one knows who he is. Flashback: before that happens, Kai disembarks from his vehicle to survey the crypt for exactly 300 seconds. Impatiently, his companions await the completion of the task because, methodical as always, he doesn't compromise on a single second. Through his binoculars, he observes one of the pillars of the conflict instigated by the demons, who wield immense magical power. On the other side of the trench, angels and elves, considered half-human celestial beings, and among them spirits, are deeply involved in this war. Creatures with special types of bodies, along with mythical beasts such as dragons, ravage the battlefields with their unmatched ferocity. Together with humanity, all these beings initiated a widespread conflict known as the Great War of the 5 Races. Kai, as one of the soldiers of the Urza Federation, cannot allow this clash to reignite. That's why he relentlessly monitors the crypt where the demons were sealed. After completing the 300 seconds of observation, the young soldier returns to the vehicle, frustrated. Ashran remarks that no demon has escaped the seal in 100 years, but Kai emphasizes that their duty as the Human Protection Agency is to ensure that it never happens. Ashran asserts that there are 4 crypts like this one around the globe, and it doesn't help if they're the only ones taking this task seriously. Saki, the woman on the team, tries to soothe their friend by assuring him that everything is peaceful, but he refuses to let his guard down for even a moment. After the journey, they return to Vishal and the Urza Federation. During one of the training sessions, alongside an unconscious Ashran, Kai uses a mythical beast combat dummy and is cautioned by the system that it's extremely hazardous to fight an opponent of this caliber as a low-ranking soldier. Ignoring the warning, the soldier attacks the mechanical beast's ankle but inflicts no damage. When the dragon is about to swallow him, Saki turns off the robot and halts the combat training. Worried, she warns that he will end up dead if he continues at this reckless pace, but Kai believes he needs to push his boundaries to make the practice worthwhile. For these reasons and more, the girl thinks that this boy would have gone down in history if he had been born during the era of the Great War of the 5 Races, just like the Prophet Sid. Kai feels honored by the compliment but doesn't see himself worthy of such an accomplishment, despite the legend being highly regarded among humans. The girl cannot fathom that a single man vanquished these 4 heroes. Hero of the demonic race, the Dark Empress Vanessa. Hero of the wild god race, the Lord of Heaven Alfreya. Hero of the spirit race, the Spirit Sovereign Rikijin Kyoko, and hero of the Phantom Beast race, the Fang Emperor Wrath A. Despite his partner's disbelief, Kai insists that Sid emerged victorious from this battle due to the shining sword bestowed by the prophetic god Asura Soraka. Nevertheless, she points out that there are no photos or videos of the human hero, unlike the others, so she remains skeptical about his existence. That said, she goes to give Ashran a wake-up poke in the ribs and asks the guys what they want to do to celebrate Jean's promotion. Ashran suggests a bouquet of flowers, but Saki points out that Jean is being transferred to the royal capital of Urzak at 17, the youngest in history to be selected, so a few shabby flowers won't do justice to such an achievement. Speaking of her, Jean sends a message inviting Kai to meet her tomorrow morning at Terminal 9 in front of the cat statue, but asks him to keep it a secret from Saki and Ashran. The 2 friends start teasing him about this secret romance, so he gets riled up and says he's going for a run. The next day, he meets Jean because she will be transferred next week and doesn't want to miss seeing her friend before then. Besides, she thought he was on leave despite the uniform indicating otherwise. He explains that he did his morning training and came straight over, so she replies that Kai is the only guy who isn't intimidated by the idea of shopping with her, and that's what she likes about him. Jean's plan is to purchase a gift for Saki and Ashran before heading to Urzak, as she suspects that all 3 of them are likely considering the same gesture, and this will be their final meeting. Kai believes this is an overstatement because the promoted one will return after 2 years of kata training in Vishal. However, Jean remembers that by that time, Saki and Ashran will have completed their military service and will transition back to civilian life. She thinks that only Kai will remain in Urza until then, and the boy shares this view. Proud of his friend, he assures her that she will surpass even her father in her career, the head of the Urza headquarters. This has been Jean's dream since she was a child and has driven all her pursuits in life. With that said, as they continue their outing, the 2 stop to grab a bite to eat, while Jean ponders what to get for their friends. After deciding, she thanks Kai for his company. During their conversation, she recalls when the boy got lost in the demon crypt at 10 years old when his father took him there for inspection. When he got home that day, Kai said he saw Sid's sword. He vividly remembers that day, falling into an absolute void surrounded by terrifying creatures until, in his free fall, a shining sword illuminated the path and drew the young Kai Sakura to it. Despite the trauma, Kai never shared this story with anyone else, believing no one would believe him. Since that incident, he has felt a personal responsibility to ensure those demons never escape the crypt. Because of this mindset, Jean believes the young man will still be with the agency for the protection of humanity in 2 years. Speaking of which, she asks him what he thinks the future holds beyond those 2 years. Before he can respond, Kai witnesses the world around him disintegrating in a static distortion. Amidst this chaos, a system announces that global reincarnation has been activated. Kai is then transported to an alternate reality where the buildings in his city, Vishal, have been obliterated, replaced by a dark, war-torn environment. Above it all, a colossal demon emerges behind the ruins and attacks him with magic. Managing to evade death, and without a moment to contemplate, Kai rushes to his rifle and fires at the demon's new spell with a modified elven bullet, neutralizing the spell and startling his adversary. Enraged, the creature charges at him again, requiring Kai to use his exceptional dodging skills. He overcomes the obstacles and strikes the demon with his bayonet, but its tough skin renders the blade ineffective. Kai then fires at the demon with a modified draconic bullet that mimics the breath of mythical beasts, causing a massive explosion in the target's body. Kai takes pride in executing the moves he trained to defeat a demon. Outraged, another evil entity appears, unable to believe a human had defeated one of its kind. Kai realizes this demon can speak human language remarkably well. The demon comments that the easiest way to control a slave is by communicating in their language, shocking Kai and making him realize he must be considered the scum of this world. The demon senses danger in Kai and prepares a lethal spell until Saki arrives in the Urza Jeep, throws a flash grenade at the entity, and rescues her friend. Kai calls out to Saki, but she doesn't understand how this stranger knows her name. Similarly, when Kai approaches Ashran, he too is puzzled by the boy's familiarity. Without comprehending anything, the protagonist recalls that the three of them were part of the same unit at the Agency for the Protection of Humanity. However, Saki also doesn't recognize this agency because she is a soldier of the Resistance, the rebel human army. Increasingly perplexed, Kai inquires about what happened to this world. The girl explains that there was a prolonged conflict called the Great War of the Five Races, and humanity was defeated over 30 years ago. Each city in the world was overrun by the enemy races, and since then, the surviving humans have been hiding as best they can. According to Ashram, the other races are still battling over the conquered territories, and the Urza Federation was taken over by demons, forcing all inhabitants to flee. However, utilizing an underground area that remained intact after the war, humans created a refuge to live in. Kai questions how humanity lost this battle, and the two resistance soldiers explain that they were no match for such formidable creatures, each race having its own hero, unlike humans. Kai asks about the prophet Sid, but neither of them has any clue who that is. The lost boy claims he is the hero who defeated the other four races, but Ashran believes he wouldn't be living underground if this person truly existed. Around the three, the main troop of the underground city arrives. As some cities still resist, each has a garrison supervised by the main troop. According to Saki and Ashran, the commander of this troop and the resistance is seen as a savior by the people of the Urza Federation. His name is Jean, an empathetic and charismatic leader, embraced by human civilization among the commanders. Jean inquires about the identity of the unknown soldier, and as his comrades explain, Kai is left speechless, realizing that even his closest friend is unaware of who he is. Unable to let it go, the boy shouts Jean's name, recalling that they were shopping just moments earlier. The commander, perplexed by this story, states that he doesn't recognize this soldier, then turns away and heads to a scheduled meeting. Unsatisfied, Kai questions why his friend is pretending to be a man, knowing her dream as a daughter was always to surpass her father's career. Fallon, one of the senior subordinates, grabs Kai by the wrist, but Jean asks her to let him go. After the commander's departure, Saki inquires what's going on in the boy's head, and Ashran offers his rune for Kai to rest and collect his thoughts. Upon arriving at Ashran's home, the visitor to this world can't think of anything other than why all this is happening to him. No matter how much he reads the documents, the only missing records are his and Sid's. What Kai doesn't understand is that if Prophet Sid never existed, there shouldn't be the four crypts to seal the four races. The next day, Kai questions his old friends about the crypts, but they know nothing of the sort. Faced with this, Kai borrows a car and promises to return by noon despite Saki's protests. Ashran reflexively tosses the key to the stranger, and Kai heads for the chaotic ruins of Vishal until he reaches the crypt he monitored in the original world. As he approaches the entrance, he encounters Prophet Sid's sword and wields it. A voice from the weapon decrees that the bearer of this relic has now become the code holder. The sword then opens a gate, which transports Kai to a mysterious platform. Upon climbing the stairs, he finds a half-angel, half-demon girl chained up. Thank you for staying until the end. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Let us know in the comments which anime you'd like to see next.